as the Earth turns on its axis away from the bright, warm center of our solar system towards the vastness of space. We reach a point called the Midnight Nexus. It is where transmissions from the dark void of our universe are most easily intercepted. These transmissions seem to be coming from different worlds, alternate realities, and even the past and the future. Dark secrets and otherworldly tales have been pieced together and are presented to you here. Welcome to the Midnight Nexus.
Crazy Sadie by B.D. Yates.
Jonah held his Bible close, trying to keep a smile on his face despite the countless doors slammed in it. It was usually like this, but he never gave up. This time, however, he would visit a house no one else would ever go to. The home of Crazy Sadie Davis. He had heard all the rumors about her. She had supposedly thrown scalding coffee on a paper boy, scarring his arm. She allegedly drowned her infant grandsons in the bathtub. And two of her husbands had died in suspicious circumstances. But the good Lord told him, "Do not judge." And so he didn't. Perhaps she was just a lonely old lady, the victim of vicious rumors. She lived in a cozy little house surrounded by flowers and birdhouses, and Jonah couldn't help but smile as he knocked politely on her door. It took some time, but when it finally swung open, a kindly old woman in a baggy flowered dress answered.
"Why, yes?"
she said, smiling, showing her perfect false teeth. "Hello, ma'am," said Jonah amiably. "Would you like to hear the word of God this morning?" The old woman smiled, a broad smile.
"Well, of course I do. Why don't you come in for tea?"
Jonah was struck dumb. He never actually had been invited inside. He made himself comfortable on her oversized couch, thumbing through the Gospels as she tinkered around in the kitchen. Finally, she shuffled back into the living room and handed him a steaming hot cup.
"Where are my manners?"
Sadie said.
"Would you like some cookies?"
Jonah gently took her hand and said, "That would be wonderful, ma'am." Sadie slowly made her way back into the kitchen as Jonah took a sip. It was extremely hot and very bitter. He would have to be careful so she wouldn't see his grimace as he tasted it. He took another sip. It almost tasted like medicine. "Don't be rude, Jonah," he could hear in his head. It felt like too much time had passed, and Jonah began to worry about Sadie. She had been gone for quite a while. He heard no noises from the kitchen. He stood to go check on her, and suddenly he was incredibly dizzy. He staggered to the left and right into her kitchen, calling out to her as the colors of his vision began to run and blur. He stumbled forward onto the kitchen table, where the tea kettle sat. Beside it was an open bottle of pills. Jesus. There were framed artwork hanging on the walls, and as Jonah squinted at them, he noticed they weren't works of art at all. They were pieces of tattooed human skin, dried and framed like small paintings. He knew that they were real. Some of them still had hair. He could hear movement behind him. He spun around, and there stood Sadie. In one wrinkled hand, she held a meat tenderizer, and in the other, a meat cleaver gleaming.
"Ready to pray now?"
She asked, ever cheerful smile was suddenly much, much darker. Crazy Sadie was written by B.D. Yates, read by Randall W. Woten. The Midnight Nexus was created by Jacob Thornburg and Randall Woten. If you enjoyed this short story by B.D. Yates, you'll be happy to know that he's written a collection of short stories that should be out in brick and mortar stores very soon. You should check that out. Look him up, B.D. Yates. Unquiet Corpses, a collection, coming to you very soon.